really putting some heavy pressure down. You're just overlapping it. Practice up. Hey guys, I'm back. It's Tom. Today I'm going to show you the basics of drawing. It's going to be a three-part series. In the first one, I'll show you how to do some shading, basic shading with a pencil. In 2, we're going to shade some objects like a cube and a sphere. And in part 3, I'm going to show you how light affects the shapes and the objects and how shadows will be drawn. All right, let's get right into the video. Okay guys, what I have here is a 2B pencil. It's kind of soft, and you'll notice that when you use it. And this is a B pencil. This is a little bit harder. And I have a 6B. That's really nice and soft. We have a sharpener if you need it. Any sharpener will work. And I have an eraser, which you're not going to need, but just in case. The pad is just drawing paper, Strathmore, any brand, a medium surface. You can draw on any kind of surface you want. It's just that if it's a rougher surface, it's going to be a little more bumpy. This is a medium surface, acid-free, and it's a heavyweight paper. 80 pounds paper US. Now the way I teach it is I use a light pressure, hold the pencil comfortable, and I use a circular motion or an elliptical motion. So I'm not putting my hand on the paper hard. I'm putting my hand gently on the paper. So if I need to do this with it, and I'll show you why we'll need to do that in a little bit. I even use my finger as a guide, but I hold it like I would be writing, but a lot looser. What I do is I use elliptical motions. What I'm doing, if I do this in slow motion, I'm doing ellipses, right? I'm doing this, but tight. So what an ellipse allows you to do, guys, is it allows you to go over what you've already done and you won't see lines. So basically I'm using very light and even pressure now, and I'm going back and forth with ellipses, right? And that way when you go over what you've already done, see if I come out here, you can see my ellipses, right? They don't have to be perfect, but ellipses. All right. Now, that's even pressure there. If I want to darken this, I just keep the ellipses and I just apply more pressure. But what I'm doing now is I'm still doing the ellipses, but I'm applying more pressure and I'm going over what I did already. Now, if I did even amounts of this pressure, it would all be the same. It would become darker. But if I stop and start to lighten up the pressure of my pencil, it begins to change value. It goes from dark to light. So this is what you want to practice. One other technique, you don't want to shade and then move into it like I kind of did over here a little bit. In other words, you want to color away from what you're doing. All right, so if you're righty, you'd start on the left side and work away. You can go this way if you're doing small areas, like for example, let's try this. If I do a light blending here, I'm doing my circular motions, right? Circular. And then say as I go light, I want to get dark, so I start to put pressure down. With my elliptical motion, I put my pressure down. Now, chances are in the first go round, you're not going to get a perfect blend. So what I'll do is I'll start here on the end and I'll come back little more pressure, and then when I get to where I was, I start to lighten the pressure up on my hand. And when I get to the point where I think, okay, that's where I want to get light, I really go light pressure. I'm hardly any pressure whatsoever right here now. This was the starting point. That wasn't very good there when you start. Sometimes, guys, if I can get this, sometimes you need to develop a little bit of a flat surface. What I tell students to do is take a scrap piece of paper and just find a comfortable spot on holding it and just rub the pencil back and forth till the point goes away. All right? Now you can see this is a different piece of paper here. You'll see different paper. This is a very smooth surface paper. Look at the difference in the textures. If I did this texture, I'm not going to see it here. You're not going to see the texture. Maybe you will. There's two different textures. This is a better quality paper, so it's going to give you a little better texture. Practice this. Now, that's 2B. If I went with the B, it's start. Let me get the point out. I'm getting my point off. I want to try to get that point off. Maybe get one flat spot going. All right. Let's try it now. Okay. So I'm lightly with ellipses. I'm going light. Now I'm going to start applying pressure. This takes some practice, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. So that's a little bit. I'll go back again over what I did. Remember, as long as you're keeping ellipses going, you'll cover over what you did without seeing pencil lines. That's what you want to avoid. And if I want to go really dark, I'll come back here. Now I'm really putting some heavy pressure down, and now I'll start to lighten the pressure up. And this is the basis for all your shading. When you draw, when you use pastel, any kind of non-paint material, this is the technique you'll use. Pressure and then light pressure to change the value. All right, let me show you what'll happen if you don't use the ellipse. Say I just want to do a straight line back and forth. So say I'm doing this. If I do that, okay, you can get away with it, but see, this pencil is a pretty good pencil. It's soft enough. It's just not going to be, it's not going to blend as smooth. You're going to get little line marks in it. Whereas if you use the elliptical motion, you're just overlapping it in a different way, which allows you to do that without any lines whatsoever. So maybe since this is dark, I'll go back and go over it dark. And then if I see a hard edge line, say I come like this, you know, and that's a definite noticeable transition right there, right? So to get rid of that, you go back here and you kind of focus on this area. You go light pressure, come back here, dark pressure, dark pressure, harder pressure back here again, and then you're going to start to blend it. You want to try to blend it away until it gets really light. So there's like a transition between dark, a little bit of a lighter, and a darker. All right? So what you want to do at this point, guys, is practice this. It's not going to happen right away for you. Don't get frustrated. Just get a scrap piece of paper to start even, and just relax, start your ellipses. All right, that's it for this one, guys. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to blend and shade a cube. It's going to blend, and we don't want it to do that. If we're going to do any kind of dark, it would be in the back.